Hey everyone, I'm Army Gaming, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Monster Legends. It is that time of the month again, where we have a team race, the Swamp Riders Grand Prix. A new Grand Prix has started and there's a time challenge running at the same time. Complete laps to get the grand prize and get rewards in the challenge too. This time the grand prize is Gurlik, a nature attacker with self buffs. He can apply several tortures such as poison, bleed, and nightmares. One of his attacks is a gamble. He can either gain triple damage for 2 turns and an immediate extra turn, or he can transform into a baby instead. As a baby, he can be targeted, but he can't attack either. He has an evolving trait. He's an orc, meaning negative effects have a 25% fewer chance of getting hit at rank 0. He gains Gravedigger, immune to possession, corruption, and nightmares at rank 3. And then finally at rank 5, he gives himself status caster immunity to stun. So once this monster is fully ranked, he's going to be immune to stun, immune to possession, and he has a 25% chance to not get hit with negative effects. So if you guys want to see my thoughts on this monster, I did an analysis piece on him, so you can go ahead and check it out. Once we actually have this monster and I can play test with him, I can do a monster review on him, because he seems a little underwhelming, but that gamble, that triple damage for 2 turns is something interesting and something I definitely want to explore. Anyhow, the main purpose of this video is to talk you guys through the Grand Prix, some tips, tricks, and strategies to maximize the number of laps you can do in the Grand Prix. So let's begin. Let's click on the Grand Prix and see how we're doing so far. The race literally just started. All members contribute as much as they can to feed. This one is literally easy. You go find a monster to feed. It's a good idea to level up, to try to feed a monster that's already kind of leveled up. So let me look around. There's a 52, so this will be faster. Ignore the maze coins. There's no maze event going on right now. Whenever the maze ends and then you play, that's when you start to that's when you get some maze coins, but they don't mean anything. So I didn't feed that much because my teammates I think already pretty much handled it. Yeah, I only did 22.4k. Breed a fire monster. This one's very easy. You literally breed a fire common monster with another common fire monster. Or you can even do a legendary fire monster. I'll just do mod keys to showcase. So fire common with fire legendary and you'll get a fire monster. So let me make space. Let me put my Ledovec. Hopefully there's space. There is. Perfect. And let me go back on the Grand Prix just to make sure it is still there. And on to the next node we go. So one of the most important things to do is to always call what you're going to be doing. So first, remember to collect that much food. I don't think I have that much food. I'll let a teammate do it. But if I was to do it, the one for all quest, I would go into chat and I would say one for all or collecting food. PvP is super simple, super easy. What I recommend for PvP is to always buy attacks. You will never ever skip that node, okay? It's so much cheaper to buy attacks and win the battles as opposed to just skipping the node straight out. What I recommend to every single person is to put a very weak defense team. That way you can have easy revenge battles. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very difficult. So what I always like to tell people is to go to change a team, click on defense team, and put on the absolute weakest team you can. So as you can see right now I had legendaries. Let's change that to nothing but commons. The reason you want to do this is so that when people attack you, you're going to have easy revenge battles because people are going to be able to beat you easily. Because if you don't do this, you're going to end up in a high trophy league where the opponents are really tough to beat. Right now, I'm at 5.3k trophies, so all of my opponents are rather easy. As you can see, that last battle, I could pretty much click revenge and it would be easy. All of these are pretty easy. Once you reach above 5.5k trophies, literally every single base you fight is 130 War Masters, 130 Nemesis, Ragnarok, Wormlad, and Brutalis, or some combination like that. So you want to minimize your trophies. This also helps other players to get an easy battle, so it doesn't have to take long. Anyhow, let's click back into the race. All members contribute as much as they can to craft 6 level 2 runes. That is pretty easy. Here, let me see if I can do that. 1 1 1 1 1. I think it should take a couple seconds, 5 minutes. So this, if you want, you can skip or you can wait the 5 minutes. Let me see. I think I'm not gonna skip just because this gives me time to talk about everything. So here's what I recommend. During the duration of the race, let me collect all of my food. During the duration of the race, what you want to do is you do want to plant black lotus roots. Not all of them, but you want to do a couple. So here, I am going to do enough for 600,000. Maybe I'll do 800,000. I could even do 1,000,000, but I think I'll do 800,000. Perfect. You know what? I'll just do more. 800,000, 900,000, 1,000,000. I'll do 1,000,000. And then I also want to plant the winged angel beans. There are a couple of nodes that says players must collect 20,000 food, or is it 40,000 food? So I'll do 5 on the winged angel beans, and then the rest on black lotus shoots. But these 2 are really the only ones you need, okay? Because there are nodes that it's like you just saw, right? One player must collect 250k food, and this is at the start, so this does exponentially increase. If it ever gets to the point where you have to collect like 2 million food, well, as you can see, I already have 1 million planted, or maybe a couple more. I can always activate my guardian to double my production. So you can always you can be sure to utilize your guardians. Sometimes they don't get used as much. Oh look, it shows the legends pass. We can talk about this later. Oh wow, yeah, we'll definitely talk about this later. Anyhow, going back to this, one thing I always recommend for you to do is to have a bunch of cells for common monsters, have a bunch of cells for rare monsters, and have a bunch of cells for uncommon monsters. So if I go to my vault, and if I sort by nature, let me sort by common. See, I have 788 for Treezard because there are lots of nodes that involve ranking up a common monster. If I do uncommon, I have 348 for Greenosar. I should really get more. I should be up in the thousands because there are a lot of nodes that call for ranking up a nature monster or even a fire monster that's uncommon. And rare, you should have a ton of Pandakin. Once again, I don't necessarily have a lot on this account, but you should have upwards of 1,000 cells because there are nodes that involve ranking up a rare monster or ranking up a fire rare monster. So it's good to be prepared. What I always recommend, and on my main account I have it a little more structured, is I have the monster lab and I have the breeding tree and everything right next to my monster lab, just because it's easier to navigate. Here, let me show you. Let me switch accounts and let me show you. So as you can see, this is my main account. And right now, just because we finished a race, everything is kind of not as it should be. Both my Altered Tree and my Breeding Mountain, they're occupied with epic monsters, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because I'm going to wait for a node that says one player must breed 9 epic monsters, and then I can hatch these 2 and then I can just gem the rest. So anyhow, what I want to showcase here is that my hatchery is right next to my breeding tree, to my monster lab, just because it makes it super easy to extract. I also have the nature habitat right here, so I can very easily, very quickly do extractions. So that's what I recommend. Organize it in a way that you can do the extractions, and because a lot of time you're extracting an uncommon monster or a Pandakin, a Greenosar or a Pandakin, you want to have it all next to each other. But going back to my baby account, yeah, that's one thing I recommend. Put it next to each other. Make sure to always leave one of your altered trees open or your breeding mountain, because you do want to help your team with the hatching. There are some nodes that says all players must contribute to hatch. Oh, like this one, joint effort. All members contribute as much as they can to hatch 42. Even if you don't, and then what you can do for that one, if you want, is you can buy an egg and you can sort by nature and just do Treezard, and it takes 15 seconds, so you can just keep buying and hatching, buying and hatching, buying and hatching. If the node ever calls for ranking up a winged monster, what I recommend, I'll talk about why I have that there. What I recommend is ranking up a common Thunder Eagle. It is the cheapest. It takes 2 gems, I think, or 4 gems if you want to skip. Super easy to do, super fast, and that'll cover the ranking up any winged monster. Anyhow, what I also recommend to do is early on, you can actually rent these out here. No, I don't want to rank up because I want to leave this open for ranking up Pandakins and Greenosars. You could also rent these out and start ranking up your epic monster for when that node pops up that says all players must rank up an epic monster, or 4 members must rank up an epic monster. I can very easily quick collect. I think it's worth the price to rent it. Some of them are cheaper than others, so be on the lookout for which ones are cheaper than others. Let's see. Gold, I would not collect gold until there is a node that calls for it, because there's a lot of nodes that call for it. For example, do your part. 15 members must collect 550k. So I think if I do a legendary habitat, that might be good enough. So 140, that's 200, that's almost 400, and that is 150k. So look at that. I collected, and I am good there. Look at the one for all. First member to breed 5 common monsters. I could have easily done that because I have one open, but a teammate took it. So yeah, it's best. Number 1 is communication. Make sure you're on Discord, make sure you're on Facebook or on the team chat. Communicate, call out the nodes you're going to be doing, because just imagine that first node, the one for all, if all the players were wasting time breeding when they could have been doing other stuff. So be conscientious of that. You have to communicate with the team. That's how you're going to be effective in the team race. I also recommend that you decide as a team how many laps are you going for. You have to be on the same. You have to be on the same consensus on how many laps are you willing to do. Because if you're gonna be spending gems, it's a good idea that you know how much exactly you're doing. I think most teams are gonna either get this monster at rank 3, which is what, 30 laps, 25 laps, 25 laps, and you get him at rank 3. If you do 50 laps, you can get him at rank 4. Everything in between now, you can get some cells. That's how that works. The position rewards, in my opinion, don't matter too much. It's a way to get extra elementium and elemental cells, but I don't know, I just don't think it's worth the effort to try to do a position reward to battle it out for that. And then individual rewards, in my opinion, that also doesn't really matter too much. If you can get 10,000 points, you will get your 5 million food. That's what everyone should aim for. That's what everyone should strive for. 10 million points equals, 10,000 points equals 5 million food. So definitely do that. 5 million is the max that you can get. And I would try not to, I would 100% avoid trying to beat your teammates just for the sake of beating them. They're your teammates. So for example, if you already have 20,000 points, right, and there's a node that pops up that is one player must collect 500 gold, if you know there's a teammate on that is lacking in points, go ahead and give it to your teammate so that they can get the 5 million food so that they can level up their monster. I think that's the best strategy to go about it. Let's see, if you only get 8 laps, you'll get the Judgment, which I don't think is that great of a monster in the current meta. And if you get 4 laps, you get an Epic, which is definitely not a good monster. So I would say at the very least, try to get Gurlik, just because, you know, it's a new team race monster. Why not get him? What else? What other advice do I have? A lot of time, what I like to do is to have a level 4 rune already crafting, sometimes a 5, just because it does pop up eventually where all members must craft level 4 runes or level 5 runes, sometimes level 6 runes. So I just like to have a level 4 rune ready. There is a Rune Lords event going on right now, so I don't know, or not now, but there will be a Rune Lords event going on in a while. So maybe you might want to just do the level 10 rune to get your 20 gems. I don't know, that's completely up to you. I'm trying to think of everything else. PvP, I think I already talked about this. PvP, it's better to buy the attacks for full points than to just skip the node outright. And also be smart about your daily goals. Save those battles so you can do the PvP nodes. Otherwise, you're just going to be wasting extra gems that you don't need to waste. Because you get 2 free battles every day from the daily goals, and then your attacks recharge every 6 hours. So just be smart about how you do that, okay? And I think that's pretty it in terms of like general advice. Once again, in races, you do have to skip nodes because those epic nodes, the one for all, you have to breed 9 epics or 12 epics or whatever it is. That's gonna take too long to actually breed the epics because first of all, you only have 4 slots, right? You have 4 slots in the hatchery, 5 if you have the premium pass, and then you only have 2 ways of hatching. If you fail and get some monster that isn't an epic, you're gonna have to gem that, and it just takes too long, too expensive. It's way cheaper just to skip that node outright. If your team can agree to every player skipping a node, and there was 1 node per lap, well then you would at least hit 30 laps, right? And there's not always gonna be an epic node, so you're fine on that. There's later on in the future, there's going to be some nodes that require a player to rank up a legendary, maybe rank up 2 legendaries or breed a legendary. So if you want, you can have a player already breeding a legendary. So it ultimately falls down to communication. Talk with your team about how many laps you want to do together, and talk about whether or not everyone is comfortable spending gems, whether everyone is comfortable investing gems. You know, you're going to have to invest gems to fight PvP battles. You're going to have to invest gems to skip the epic nodes. So it just goes down to talking with your team and making sure everyone is on board with spending gems to skip those hard nodes, and then just logging in, you know. Try to log in as often as possible because you never know when you could be waiting for do your part. So many times there's a node that it's like 15 players must collect food, and you're stuck at like 13 out of 15 for like 2 hours or 3 hours. So try to log in as often as possible just to see if they need you for the do your part. And yeah, be ready for the do your part. Make sure you have your food ready to collect. Make sure you have a monster ready to feed. Make sure like all that is prepped and ready to go. And yeah, I think that's it for general advice. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you need any more specifics, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Or I guess one of the combinations I really like to do for the breeding the epic monster, I'll post it. It's any combination of earth and magic. So Tartarus and Duchess, Tartarus and Terracrank and Duchess. Because a lot of time it tends to yield an epic monster, and magic and earth monster. You could also get a Rockilla, who Rockilla honestly costs 2 he takes 2 minutes to hatch, so that's not a big waste of time. You could, however, get a genie. Genie does take 19 hours, so that'll kind of occupy your breeding and your hatchery. But from my experience, you really don't get them too often. Another popular combination is to combine, is it Thundernix and Tarzape? Thundernix, where is it? Yeah, Thundernix and Tarzape, that tends to breed one of these, Rhynix, Rabidix, or another of the Nature Thunders, so that could be something you do. Let me see, Epic, yeah, Rhynix, Rabidix, or Wolfkami, so, or Griffix. So there's 4 potential epics that you could get with that combination, so you could definitely also try that. Yeah, but now with that being said, that is gonna be it for this video. More things keep coming to my head. There's a node that requires you to hatch epic common. There's gonna be a node that requires you to hatch an earth common monster. The easiest thing to do is just to go to shop, go to earth, put Rockilla there. Again, it takes 2 minutes, and then you can just sell them. You can repeat the process, especially if your hatchery is open. The race is a good time to leave your hatchery open, but it's also a good time to designate some players to start breeding epic monsters for when that node pops up. And then other players that are more active, that are constantly in the game, they're the ones that can leave it open, and they can take care of the all players must hatch 42 monsters, or first member to hatch 26 monsters, whatever it may be. The players that are most active, that are often on, they're the ones that should have the hatchery open. So anyhow, with that being said, that is going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you need any more help on any specifics about the race, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much, and I will see you all next time.